Greetings and welcome back, or as Obi-Wan Kenobi would say, hello there. My name is Gribz, or Gribz138. I'm a PNG tuber, or PNG skeleton tuber, as some people might say it. I was born and raised in the year 1990X, little Mega Man reference there for you. I cover a lot of stuff in these videos, but for the most part, my videos cover pop culture, music, film, animation, video games, soundtracks, and basically anything nostalgic that I could think about or anything that I could yap about for a good while. Some of the stuff you may or may not have heard of, others you could probably tell from my chatty nature and this awfully long introduction, or some of my previous videos, which you should totally watch here. I'm quite passionate about the topics I discuss, topics that have no ranges, and if it's possible to yap about and discuss for a good 10-15 minutes or however long I decide this video will be. If you are enjoying this video, make sure to remember to like, comment, and share the video around. Also, follow me on social media, join the Discord today. Thank you. Now back to the video. I grew up consuming a lot of media over the years, whether it be comics, television, music, or the life around me. Hell, I even watched the internet and this website grow up. Even though I didn't have my own computer at the time, and the family computer wasn't updated enough to run YouTube or the internet smoothly. So I was over at a friend's house a lot that had a decent family computer and with internet access. Being born in the 90s and living through the 2000s as my childhood, it was something like most of you watching this video want to reminisce, or those wondering what it was like growing up during that time, whether you were even born yet or just too young to even remember. Likewise, you're definitely the target audience. When it comes to video games, I was too young to own a PS1 at the time of its release. So, for the first time, I really got my hands on playing a Super Nintendo. This basically was my first introduction to video games and my first introduction to Mario. I would always sit down and play Super Mario World, which was on the Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo. And besides that, I would play games like The Lion King, screw that game because its difficulty is insane, Jurassic Park, and Kirby's Avalanche. Birthdays and Christmases passed by, so I couldn't remember which one, but I finally got my own PlayStation 1. I was so hyped on it, I would save up a lot of money as I could, go to Best Buy, get a demo disc. Life was great. This definitely has to do with video games. Does anybody remember when Pizza Hut would give you demo discs with your order? My family was a local pizza place supporter, so I wasn't aware about these demo discs as well. One thing I was aware about that Pizza Hut had in this was being able to see my first real arcade cabinet, like a shooter one basically. That cabinet was House of the Dead, and I gotta say, I was terrified as hell going near that machine, but it looked so cool and I wanted to play it. But being a little munchkin bro, I was terrified. House of the Dead is probably one of my favorite games of all time, and there was a remake for it past couple of years, so check that out. I have a big passion for video games. I have to say some of my favorites include, but not limited to, which, you know, we'll make a video about this someday: Fallout New Vegas, Borderlands 2, Super Mario World, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Space Invaders, and Metal Gear Solid. Hell yeah, I love me my Space Invaders. There's other games too, but that's just the ones I could think of on the top of my head. On the subject of video games, we are going to dive into music, and I played a lot, and I mean countless hours of playing around in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, mainly the second one particularly, though the later games like Project 8, American Wasteland, and Underground were goated as well. Particularly the soundtracks to 1, 2, and 3 have always just stuck with me forever. The soundtracks on the games are great, but there's certain artists that just took me by surprise of how much I enjoyed them. Artists like Dead Kennedys, Less Than Jake, Suicidal Tendencies, and Rancid. Additionally, besides skateboarding, being a big casual wrestling fan, I enjoyed some of the WWF and WWE games that we got. Some of the soundtracks too for SmackDown vs. Raw are among my most anticipated soundtracks of all time, video game wise. One of the first times I heard 3 Days Grace, which I have to say was peak middle school for me, was during one of the SmackDown vs. Raw games. Animal I Have Become just went so hard in the menu, like I would even purposely just wait until the song was over to continue whatever I was doing in the game. That's how of a chokehold they had me with these songs. Since childhood, I have always loved the idea of slowing down, rewinding, playing a VHS tape on my TV, a skill that I had mastered long before I could properly walk. I was captivated by rewatching some of my favorite movies as a child. Then that love just only grew more, and accidentally a little bit too real when I stumbled upon the film adaptation of Stephen King's Pet Sematary, which basically ignited my fire and my passion for all spooky and horror things. From that point, my movie watching became an all-night affair, often watching late-night reruns on the Sci-Fi or TNT or the USA channel. I was too young or didn't even know that we had AMC, so that was not an option for me either at the time. Or as well as just purchasing DVDs, VHS tapes from thrift stores, Goodwill, Salvation Armies, garage sales, whatever. I was driven by a desire to build a vast collection, a passion that's just difficult to describe. It's incredibly rewarding. The act of holding a movie in your hands, physically flipping through the DVD or tapes, the sound that they make, and just simply choosing what to watch. A combination of flipping a remote to select what you want, then watching it. It's just an experience that I cherish, an experience that I miss. I'm not just into scary movies, but I also dig old black and white films. The big names like The Trip to the Moon, Duck Soup, Some Like It Hot, just to name a few. But the whole world of cinema and Hollywood has always fascinated with me. I remember the best part, and what I remember most from the first time going to Universal Studios, was the back lot. Just the whole thing of what these streets could tell us, these buildings. I'm just a big fan of theme parks and cinema. With all the videos and stuff about the history of theme parks and all that, I would have a blast in the early days of YouTube. Honestly, I just took a lot of time to really see there's just more to movies and there's so much magic. I even took a few classes back in high school that was basically just showing you basic camera work, film history, and just basically film in general. I wish I could have taken it back for one more year, because I only took 3 years out of the 4 for that. So honestly, I wish I had taken it earlier, but overall, anything with cinema or anything with Hollywood in that matter is just so fascinating to me. Television is a big part of my life, and it's kind of like a babysitter, keeping an eye on you while you just sit there and pay attention to it. I spend a lot of time watching TV, but I have to say my most favorite time to watch TV was on Saturday nights. I'd go out with my parents, sometimes my elder sister. We'd go to a family, maybe even friends party, in a basement, in a hall, etc. We'd usually come back around after midnight on Saturday, so it would be probably 1 in the morning, maybe 12 o'clock by the time we'd get home. Adult Swim would still be airing at the time, and this is early peak Adult Swim when they would only be, I believe, showing it on the weekends. So my parents would go off to bed, I'd watch TV for an hour or so, and I would be watching home movies, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Moral Oral, Oblongs, C-Lab 2021. Some of my favorite shows, though, from Adult Swim definitely gotta be Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which I gotta say, I did not appreciate as much as I did as a kid, but looking back at the clips now, I really do love Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law as well, too. Besides just that, I would watch cartoons from Nickelodeon as well, but I was mainly into Cartoon Network. Although, you know, they definitely did have some bangers on Nickelodeon, like Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy. It wasn't my first choice. My first choice as a child was Nickelodeon, but eventually once I got older, it was Cartoon Network. I really wasn't much into Disney Channel. We only had Toon Disney, which was basically Boomerang for its older, like, 80s Disney afternoon block type of vibes, so that was fun too. But like I said, Cartoon Network, I found myself more at home with Ed and Eddie, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and my favorite of all time, Billy and Mandy. Toonami became one of my favorite blocks during elementary and middle school. Overall, when Tom took over, it was probably peak Toonami. But the first time I really watched Dragon Ball Z was in Mexico. That was way before I saw it on Toonami. Same with Dragon Ball. I had no idea Dragon Ball Z was even the sequel to Dragon Ball. I had no idea even Dragon Ball was out there. The first anime I really watched was Sailor Moon because of a girl that I had a crush on in the 2nd grade. She ended up watching Digimon, but all the other kids as well too were watching Dragon Ball Z, Digimon were the main two. So I would try to catch as much as I could on Toonami. And eventually they caught up to the Frieza saga and eventually started the Cell games as well. But over the time as it went on, I would stick around and watch other animes later on Adult Swim that they would show late at night as well, like Cowboy Bebop, Afro Samurai, and The Big O. But who could also forget Ghost in the Shell, Stand Alone? Those reruns got me back through the day. That was all I had for anime, was just whatever I could watch. I love to travel, and I recently just found out I love to travel. I've been outside of the United States and my own state several times. I've actually gone to Mexico City several times, and I've lost track of where I've gone to Mexico because I have family that lives there. So basically, I am Mexican American in a way, for those that didn't catch on. Overall, it's just a beautiful, beautiful country, and I'd love to visit again soon. It's been a while, but gotta renew the passport and all that stuff. I've been to both the East Coast and the West Coast. I live in the Midwest, so pretty much I've knocked all 3 out. I've been almost around the bordering states around where I live. I traveled to Florida, gone to California. One recently state I could take off is Nevada. Recently went for a metal festival called Sick New World. There's a blog if you're interested in seeing some of the travel of it. It's cool. Some of my favorite things I've done in California is go to Halloween Horror Nights. There's a video on that too. Same with Disneyland. Eventually, maybe someday, Disneyland Tokyo. That would be the dream. I also have gone to Knott's Berry Farm, probably when I was about 2 or 3 years old, which I don't remember. So some other hobbies I have is picking up photography about 4 years ago, right before those times we don't want to talk about. I also enjoy longboarding and skateboarding. I love to just cruise and ride around. It's super fun to pick up the speed and just feel the rush in your hair. Good pair of headphones, nice cruise, gets you going. Like I said earlier, I tend to collect a lot of VHS tapes and Blu-rays, but my other thing that I collect as well too is video games. So basically anything old school from like Super Nintendo to PlayStation 2, the OG Xbox, not the 360, even though, you know, at this point it's kind of considered classic as well. Or I'm sorry, retro. I've collected as much as I can. Anything that just catches my eye, any knickknacks, any cool collectibles. Not as much Funko Pops anymore. That ship has sailed, you know. I'll buy a pop every now and then, but that ship's definitely sailed. I really am into old school consoles, like I said, mix of books as well, fiction, nonfiction, science, comics, horror, anything like that, pop culture, art-wise. Going on hikes, seeing nature, being able to just get away from the noise, the technology and all that, it feels great. I feel like I clear my mind. I feel like I definitely detox a little bit from technology and just get back to Mother Earth, you know, one with nature, one with the dirt. You know, I'm getting all hippie on you, but I don't care. It's just the way I am. I also like to play guitar and bass, and I'm planning to soon buy a drum kit, maybe electronic. We shall see. I love playing bass as well. It's a lot of fun. Guitar is fun as well too, but I feel like I'm more at home with bass a little bit more than guitar. Drums is definitely one of my callings though. I do vocals, but I'm not the best, so I'm not even gonna attempt to. No. So for the idea of the video, it just stuck to me. I've rebranded this channel so many times, so many different directions, but now I've committed to this format. It basically recites what I want to do. It's generally have fun making these videos. It's basically some of the niche that I fall into, the stuff that I enjoy, the typical stuff of I'm doing the typical stuff of trying to bring back random nostalgia moments, or just in a sense make you feel good about watching this video, or a sense of like, oh well, I didn't know that, or oh, you know what, I find this subject interesting, let me hear what this person has to say about their passion and information on what they're sharing with the world. And it just sets apart from everybody else, you know. Anybody else could be doing this as well, but not everybody's gonna have the same thing I do or talk about the same thing I want to talk about. So pretty much I just want to say I'm grateful to everybody who watches these videos and appreciate your support so much. That was just a bit of an introduction of who I am, what I enjoy doing. If there's anything you'd like to know, I'll save that for a future video. Comment down below with a question, or just let me know that you watched the video through the end by commenting the word flower. Why not? Let's just go with the word flower. Anywho, thanks for stopping by. Drop me a question if you really want to know. Follow me on social media. Follow the Discord. Join today. I'll see y'all in the next time. Thanks for stopping by, clicking on another video. There's plenty to go around. I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.